Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't wanna miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, welcome back to another edition of Live Wire Sports Media. You know what it is. So it is so refreshing to hear people when they talk about the WNBA in a positive light, not bunch of narrative, not a lot of animosity. And it's also good to hear when you hear players in the W who have their own podcast, talk about the Indiana Fever, talk about Caitlin Clark, and then talk about others and what the league looks like and stuff like that. And I want to give a shout out, special shout out to Courtney Williams, who's a really decent point guard, great point guard. She could have won a WNBA title this past season, where her Minnesota Lynx went to the finals. But her daddy, who's he's funny. He's a funny guy. He supports his daughter in and out. He was down there with her, and when she was on Rival and everything, he shows up to the games and stuff like that. And they have a podcast together called Courtney's Dad and Her, and I think it's a fairly new podcast. And I will leave a link in the description box below so y'all can check out full. So they showed a clip on X, and I didn't want to just go off that clip. I wanted to watch the whole episode, and which I did. So I watched the whole episode, and one thing I could say, I love something that's refreshing and is actually not biased. They just talk, and Courtney, she's a fan of everybody. But when she talks about players, she talks it from experience because she sees it. She doesn't sugarcoat it. She doesn't hide it. She gives everybody their flowers, even the rookies. And when it came down to talking about who are the four best teams in the league and what these teams look like, she didn't even hesitate at all. And she brought up the Indiana Fever and so forth and so on. And her dad and her really, they talked about everybody. He's a fan of certain players, but he's acknowledged that, hey, Caitlin Clark is who she is. Everybody sit here to continue to downplay Caitlin Clark's ability. And then that's why it's just that we don't need, I say this, when people talk negatively about Caitlin Clark, I don't even get like I was last year about it, because I know what kind of player she is. I know what she's about. I know how she handles her business. I I'm not too much going to really spend too much energy this season. Really, every time somebody jumps out and says something about her, if it's not demeaning or demoralizing, then I'm not going to address it. But whenever it's just when it's start talking about her game or she ain't that person, I'm not going to even give that stuff the energy, because at the end of the day, you know what I think? These people just say stuff just to get clicks, likes, or whatever the case may be, and they just want to spin narrative because they know anything they talk about Caitlin Clark, bad or good, is going to resonate to attention, and that's what it is. Because if they sit there and say everything, they know that they in their mind they know everything good about Caitlin Clark or what kind of person she is, then nobody is going to really pay attention to their podcast. You know what I'm saying? But if they say something negative, then they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we could get this. We could get people riled up." And I'm not going to be the one. I spent too much time and energy doing that last year into the off season. I want to concentrate on ball. I want to concentrate on Caitlin Clark and then the fever and certain issues, certain things that go around the W. I want to have clean coverage. I just don't feel like everything doesn't need a headline. Everything doesn't need to be comment on. When you spend time commenting on something, you just giving people more and more of your energy. When you give people less time of your energy, one thing about me, I don't like my time or my space or energy wasted. So I'm not gonna give people that moment. But anyway, I'm gonna play the first clip with Courtney and her dad, and then I'm gonna come back before I play the second clip.
Phoenix, Vegas, LA, Atlanta, New York.
Man, you ain't even named. Thank you. I was gonna say you ain't even named the team that I think is gonna like can really shake things up. Like I feel like we know Vegas gonna be good because we know who they have on that team. I think when you start talking about teams that can just be like, all right, bro, like they could be dangerous. The first team come to my mind is Indiana. I'm not gonna lie, only because I feel like, bro, Natasha Howard, I feel is like super underrated for real. Like even when we talking right now, we ain't said Natasha Howard name, but it's like, bro, she's a big key. She gonna be a crazy big key to their success. Oh, Natasha Howard is right.
Yeah.
He cap, he don't know that. He cap. She a dog. Hey, Natasha Howard is a dog. I'm not gonna lie. That's what I'm saying. But you gonna know who she is. You gonna know who she is.
She wasn't at Unrivaled, was it?
Nah, she wasn't at Unrivaled, and she was in Dallas last year, and Dallas wasn't that good. So you know when you get on a team that don't be that good, it kind of like people don't really be talking about you. Yeah. But I think when she get on, I mean, obviously she gonna get talked about.
People know who you are.
People won't know who she. You gonna know who she is anyway because she on that team with Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Like you on the team with Caitlin Clark, you gonna be under that. You gonna be under that microscope.
They be talking about Caitlin Clark overrated. That girl ain't overrated. She bringing the heat.
No.
She bringing it, boy, because she crossing them up, boy, then pulling up. You know what I mean?
Caitlin Clark a problem, brother.
Yeah, she that.
I just think about my rookie year, and I think about how I came into the league, and I'm like, bro, it was such a crazy like transition for me to just understand what it's like to play at the pro level. And it's like this girl coming in as a rookie and going like she broke the record for assists. I don't think people really understand like how crazy that is to do as a rookie your first year doing this. But that's another episode. Shout out to Caitlin, bro. She's going crazy. She only gonna get
talking about the free agency move right now. What about the new move? Didn't you just leave the draft?
And that right there, um, that right there is what I'm talking about. Unbiased opinion. It's funny that her dad doesn't even know who Natasha Howard is. And the crazy is because Courtney started out in Connecticut. She did play for the Sky too, and everything like that. But like she said that you don't even know how hard it is to come into the league as a rookie to end up leading the league in assists as a rookie, especially if your team wasn't viewed as a great team. That's you that's talent. That's gift. That's a person understanding the game. Because like a lot of people focus on her shooting. She went on to have a not one but two triple doubles. She would have had a first 2020 game if Chrissy Size didn't mess it up. She had 19 assists, I believe, against Dallas. And that was just before the All-Star break. And she was supposed to get that 20, but Chrissy Size took her out the game at the end, towards the end. She could have had the first 2020 as a rookie. So that was another record she could have cracked. But nevertheless, she was averaging in the second half of the season well over almost 8 assists a game. She was having these 10, 12, 15 games. She was lapping Natasha Cloud. Then she caught up with Alyssa Thomas and just passed her. Alyssa Thomas was trying, you saw some games where Alyssa Thomas was trying to match assists with Caitlin Clark, and she couldn't do it. Caitlin Clark she's that dog. She's that dog when it comes to understanding the game and everything like that. And that's why I said you cannot You cannot underestimate what Caitlin Clark does on the court. You cannot underestimate what she does as a person because her game is so uncanny. Her game is so different from anybody else. And just to sit here to hear people say her game is basic, that goes to show you that they really don't understand the game of basketball. They don't understand there's different levels of point guard. Caitlin Clark plays at a different level. She plays at three different types of levels and three different types of levels. And you got to understand that because if you don't, then that goes to show you right then and there, you missing a lot. You missing a lot of things. So I'm trying to find this next clip. Um, I think that's it right there. That should be it right there. That should be it right there. So that's why me personally, I love podcasts like this. I love podcasts that really sits down and break down stuff and understands what it is. Courtney said it is. She said when she came into the league, it was totally different from her. When you have a person that really knows the game, they gonna really seek out what it is. And like she said, now in this next clip when it's finished uploading and I put out for y'all, she's talking about the team, how the team was able to come together and who she feared most. Now, you know, she can't say that, oh, Indiana's going to beat them, but she said, hey, we're going to beat them. But she said, out of everybody, that is the team. That's the team you have to watch out for because you got to think, you got a Leah Boston, you got Kelsey Mitchell, you got Caitlin Clark. So what are you going to do? Then you add a Bonner, then you add a Cunningham, then you add a Howard, then you got a rookie that's pretty much going to make the team. Then you also have other pieces that's going to play an integral part of this team. That is what makes this team so scary, and people really don't understand how scary this Indiana team is. I don't care what the ranking says, that just rankings. That because me personally, I don't seen rankings so many times in different sports where you think a team should be here and people rank them there because they don't want to put them too high because you know everybody's gonna be like, why you do this? Why you do that? Because this team won this and this team won that. You already heard Nafisha Carter, she went on First Take crying about why the Fever got 41 games out of 44 televised because they must see TV. Because, but what I think New York got 32 and Vegas got 33, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. But everybody knows that when Caitlin Clark and the Fever come to your town, you will get seen anyway. So what's the purpose? When you play Vegas or you play these other teams, what you think is gonna happen? You're gonna get televised anyway. So just trying to say, hey, oh well, we was the runner up in the championship game. We should be able to have that more games as well. I guess they wanted 25 games or whatever, or 30 games. So I mean, you got to understand how all of this works because you can't sit there and think that, oh well, the Fever get no attention. They rightfully so. Who you think they got on their team? Because guess what? If Caitlin Clark was playing for the LA Sparks, what you think would have happened? If she was playing for the Phoenix Mercury, what you think was gonna happen? If she was playing for the Atlantic Dream, what you think was gonna happen? So let me play this next clip for y'all.
Phoenix, Vegas, LA, Atlanta, New York.
Man, you ain't even named. Thank you. I was gonna say you ain't even named the team that I think is gonna can really shake things up. Like I feel like we know Vegas gonna be good because we know who they have on that team. I think when you start talking about teams that can just be like, all right, bro, like they could be dangerous. The first team come to my mind is Indiana. I'm not gonna lie, only because I feel like, bro, Natasha Howard, I feel is like super underrated for real. Like even when we talking right now, we ain't said Natasha Howard name But it's like, bro, she's a big key. She gonna be a crazy big key to their success. Oh, Natasha Howard is, right?
Yeah.
He cap, he don't know that. He cap. She a dog. Hey, Natasha Howard is a dog. I'm not gonna
I don't know why it's doing the same video because I uploaded before, and it's not. Hold on, let me see something right here quick. I don't know. I'm trying to do it again, but if it doesn't work, then I'm not gonna worry about it. But the first part of the video was she was talking about the team and how the team, who was scary to her, who in her eyes thought she was scary. She said that she don't worry about the others because you know who they are, because of who they have on their team. And then you say that, hey, we got all our players back too. Don't overlook us. But she said the number one team that she feel is scary, that could pose a threat and can shake things up, is the Indiana Fever. And people have to understand, you can't say, well, they got all these pieces or they're not going to do nothing. But the same thing, the same thing is that you got to understand what they did last year is going to propel even greater to what they have done. What they're going to do this coming season. So that's what I'm saying. But anyway, I think that at the end of the day, I like Courtney Williams. She's never been, for what I have seen, for what I have watched her, she has never been negative. She's never been unbiased. When it came to Caitlin Clark, she always gave Caitlin Clark her flowers. Caitlin Clark did drop her a few times last year. So I just want to let Courtney know, and Courtney said, hey, I'm up in age right now. So, she's thinking in her mind, hey, Caitlin's going to drop me again. So, but the thing about it is that this is what these conversations need to be about. Pure conversations, understanding these players, giving these players flowers. You know what I'm saying? But don't sit there and just act like Caitlin Clark does not exist. You know what I'm saying? Don't act like she doesn't exist, and trying to downplay her motion, trying to downplay her gravity, and sitting out here calling her basic when you know good and well her game is not basic. She can play on all three levels. So let's quit that. But anyway, you know what to do. At the end of this video, like, comment, subscribe. Until the next episode, you know what it is. Livewire Sports Media, and I'm out.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Livewire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Livewire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.